I've been zoning, I've been zoning.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm just here to bring you a really short video real quick to show you what a dynamic warm-up should look like. Let's go ahead and jump right onto it because I don't want to waste any more of your time. I don't do that. I jump right onto the value. I'm gonna go ahead and play the clip that I posted on my Instagram the other day. If you haven't already checked out my Instagram, definitely do. It's at nonstop.progress. I post daily training content. But anyways, so I'll go ahead and show that video right here. I'll kind of just break down a couple of the things that I'm doing in this video. So you're gonna see I'm doing a jog, I'm doing open the gates, I'm doing close the gates. These three, great to get the hips going, great to get the hip mobility going in a dynamic fashion. Obviously the jogging is not really hip related, but the open the gates and the close the gates definitely are. The jog is gonna be essentially just to get blood flowing to the muscles, and then we move into the hamstrings, so it's gonna be scoops. This one's great for the hamstring, just clear activation right here, kind of just lengthening the muscle in a dynamic fashion as well. Then we move into the quads. Quad stretch, pretty simple here, just kind of lengthening the muscle again in a dynamic fashion. Then moving off of that, we go into the groin rockers or the Spider-Man squat rocker. This one's can be a hip mobility exercise, but it's really more tailored towards the groins, and it's lengthening the muscle there, but in a dynamic fashion, like we've always been saying. Then we move into the high knees. The high knees is really a hip flexor activation because you're driving that knee up into your chest. Hip flexors are the muscles that are helping that to become possible. And then we go into the power skips. That's a calf activation exercise because you're actually trying to explode off of your calves. Obviously it's going to activate quad, your glutes, all that, but the calves is really the one that I target at least. So yeah, that one's really great for the calves. And then notice how towards the end of this warm-up, I start to do the kicks. The kicks are a bigger movement, so I always keep them like second to last. And so the big kicks are the forward, sideways, and the back, and those are hitting the hamstrings and then the groins. That's basically it for that one. This second to last one right here is just those defensive side shuffles, 2 and 2s. Those kind of activate the muscles outside of your legs, the IT band, those abductors. And then last but not least here, we got the sprint, and that one's essentially just trying to get your heart rate up and obviously getting your feet moving in a fast pattern. And what I've seen actually is by doing fast sprints as my warm-up, or at least at the end of it, it helps to get my feet kind of more activated and my mind in connection with my feet a lot quicker. So I feel more coordinated going into the actual training session. Like I feel like I can get on the ball and be crisper and move better, etc. I would definitely try out doing 2 to 3 sprints, maybe like 20 yards before you start doing any type of training at the end of your warm-up, and just kind of see how it feels for you. But anyways, then we're moving into the band activation. And so this one, the first one I do is monster walks, and then I go into the side to sides, and I do the hip flexor holds. Not holds, but I kind of just stretch the band up and march with it. That helps the hip flexors kind of activate a little bit more. And then I might do some clamshells and some fire hydrants or whatever I'm feeling, but that's essentially it for that. Band activation really is just to activate the muscles and to try to extract and activate as many muscle fibers in that muscle group as you can, because that's going to help your adaptation to training. So for example, if let's say you have a muscle, right, and only 80% of it is activating because your range of motion is bad, then only 80% of it's going to get the work, instead of activating it in a band resistant fashion, which is really effective, quite frankly. And then let's say that you go from 80% to 100% of muscle activation, and then that muscle's getting trained more, and then your training in turn is actually going to become more effective on your body. And so moving on from that, then we go into the mobility. So it could be, you know, your hip mobility, ankle mobility, you know, whatever it is that you need. I've typically felt like my hips are pretty tight, and I feel like the ankles and the hips are mostly the parts of the body that are tight for soccer players. And those are the two ones that I try to focus on the most. And I do this hip mobility routine in the morning. It's about 12 minutes long. If you want a hip mobility routine that's a follow along, definitely drop that in the comment section below. Let me know. Smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you all in a bit.